Okay, a little better.
Thank you.
Right. Okay, now you're ready to start off the meeting. We normally start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody would rise for that. And I had to move it for the display, so I kind of had to try to find it.
Are we doing that one?
Yes.
Then we leave out the underground part, because that's earlier.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to give you a little tour of the Ossipee Mountains. And when I mean top to bottom, I'm not necessarily talking from the valley to the peak. I'm going to talking everything that kind of strange, weird, interesting that's happened up at the mountain. We're going to start off with a little bit of a science show here. Here's a view of the Ossipee Mountains from Red Hill. And from here, you can't really tell the shape. All you see is you look at the Moultonborough side is a steep mountains to the top. Yeah. So a few quick facts about the Ossipee Mountains. They're 10 miles in diameter. The distance around the base is 40 miles. They started off as a volcano 100 million years ago. It was known as a Cretaceous stratovolcano, and we'll get into that later during the science part of the program. It formed a ring dike 90 million years ago, so 10 million years after the first eruption, they had a second eruption. Mount Shaw on the Moultonborough side is the highest peak at 29 and 90 feet, and it's the highest point. Okay, the science class begins. I hope you're all studying for this. 100 million years ago, it started off as a stratovolcano, Cretaceous stratovolcano. When was the Cretaceous period? It was a period that lasted 79 million years from the end of the Jurassic period, 145 million years ago, to the beginning of the Paleogene period, 66 million years ago. So when this thing was blowing up, we had dinosaurs roaming around Moultonborough.
They'll do.
Yeah. Sitting next to a couple? So, first of all, we're going to go into what is a stratovolcano. A stratovolcano, also known as a composite volcano, is a conical volcano built up by many layers or strata of hardened lava, pumice, or volcanic ash. Mount St. Helens was one. And basically it did the same thing ours did. It kind of blew up. And that formed the lower mountain range on the Ossipee side and the center. You can see here the different layers of rock. Up top we have a dark, fine-grained layer. In the middle, we have a striped, kind of a coarse grain, and actually you can see where it flew like a big tongue. And it was on top of another layer of the coarse rock. This one was taken up at Bemis Farm Road in Tamworth. Here's the ring dike, what it looks like. The red is the ring dike. 10 million years after the first eruption, a second eruption formed the ring dike. Lava couldn't rise up through the center magma chamber as it had formed the plug. So the magma was forced out around the outer edge of the volcano, forming a ring dike, which is shown here in the red. The second eruption, 10 million years later, here's the collapsed caldera, fell in. The only way for the lava to come out is around the edges. Now, if you look at the Ossipee Mountains in the air, you can see just about perfectly round. And you can see, as in right here, parts of the ring dike, little rises going all the way around. The central area, kind of leaning towards the Ossipee end, is the collapsed caldera from the volcano. Again, we just have an overlay of the map and the ring dike, and you can see where it is, the central area of the collapsed caldera, which happens to be made of Conway granite, which is a lighter pink, coarse grained rock. Now, this one came actually from the very center of the caldera, the sample. I paid dearly getting that sample. I pulled my hamstring trying to climb down the embankment. But here's a zoom in of the Moultonborough Ossipee area, and you can see the ring dike with Danhole Pond up and over, and the other smaller ponds in there. A nice pond, very busy. Now, zooming in, now you can really see the ridge. Here from Moultonborough Corner, from about here on that map, you can see the darker ridge of the ring dike with the taller Ossipee Mountains behind. Here we go up over the top of the ring dike. On Canaan Road in Moultonborough, you actually can drive right up over the top. Once on the top, you can see down in the Caldera area. The Ossipees weren't quite what I thought they were when I first started out in this project. So here we have Meca along that ring dike, walking along the top, and you can see it's a smoother, harder grained stone. And this one came from there. And you feel free to come up and check out the two samples. There was no injuries getting that one, by the way. Over in Tamworth, here's the ring dike, a different form of the ring dike, slightly smaller. Since it's the harder rock, it's the softer lava or stone is all washed away, leaving the hard stone across the brook. Beautiful place to swim, by the way. Then, after the volcano, the ring dike, and all of that happened, we have ice ages. Lots and lots of ice ages, every 100,000 years. And it kind of ground down the top of the mountain to its present height of 2,990 feet. Okay, we're getting closer to our present time. Dick might remember this time. The American Indians lived around the Ossepees for about 10,000 years, if it goes back. They used a special stone called hornsfeld, a rock formed in the ring dike, and they were using it to make arrowheads and their tools, spear points. Here's the area where the Indians actually had mines, mining in hornsfeld. It's in the Tamworth, Ossipee area. And hornsfeld is a metamorphic rock. During the first volcano eruption, the volcano became up to 10,000 feet tall, and it kind of sat there. So 10 million years of plant growth on the sides of the volcano made mud and ponds and whatever. The second eruption, lava coming up over the side, ran down over all of that organic material and just squeezed it into a hard rock that the Indians could use. But there's only a thin layer of it in the ring dike. The state of New Hampshire, there, a book on archaeology written by the state archaeologists, they found these two, what they call them bifaces, in the Tamworth area in the Ossipees. These were basically tools that the Indians were making, but either it broke in half or just became defective somewhere along the way. This is what the state found, and a gentleman in town found these in that area. Again, we have a couple broken spear points, a couple scrapers. The stone here is a tool used to make arrowheads. It has a nice grip on it, and on one side you've got a wide chopping point where they can make the large cuts into their arrowhead material. And on the front of it was a little tiny chipper for doing the fine work. And it just fits in your hand so nice. It's well made. This large spear point that was found over there in Tamworth. It's a good sized spear point. I wouldn't want to be attacked by anybody with it. Probably 3/4 inches long. And to this day, I mean, when I was handling it, you could cut steak with that. With the serrated edge, it was so nice. Okay, still going a little further in the Indian period, from the Mountain People of Moultonborough book, we go to the Falls of Song up in the Castle Clouds. And it's a beautiful fall. There's a rock called the Pebble right nearby. That has some Indian history, I believe, but we'll get into that some other time. And the Fall of Song has an interesting story connected with it. At this scenic spot across the ravine, Lieutenant John Chamberlain, one of Lovewell's officers in the Pequot Battle of 1725, made his escape from the Indians with a single leap of about 15 feet. One of the red men tried to follow him and went to his death on the rocks below. There's a tourism book from 1825 that also mentions the same story. In that book, the Handbook for Travelers, it describes the falls and a remarkable spring, 16 feet in diameter, that throws water up about 2 feet high. On the left and below the falls, this is from, the picture is taken from above the falls looking down, there is a small grotto, which was a place of refuge during the Indian Wars. I found a couple other stories that kind of mention it as people finding Indian relics also in that location. Unfortunately, I don't have a ladder tall enough to get there. And you see the picture on the right is a picture of where the boiling spring is today. I believe it's covered, but I haven't been able to get any closer. There's a fence around it. But this is where the water that we have out on the table comes from. But you have to be very careful. Some of the water comes from North Carolina and some from here. I always check. We'll be using a lot of aerial Google Earth pictures in the program. And I have software, a GPS camera and software, which actually will show, like this one's showing the top of the falls where I took that picture. Here's the lookout, half the rest of the way up towards the castle, and other photos I've taken along throughout the day. It's great for going back to the exact same spot and you can't find an old cellar hole. Here's the Ossipee. What do you think the center of the Ossipee looks like? Round mountain terrain.
Depression.
Valley.
Yep, it's a big caldera, and I was surprised. I always, living in Moultonborough, we hiked the Moultonborough side, and you usually have 2,900 feet to get to the top. And so Meca and I spent most of the summer on the other side, checking it out. Here's the center. Big fields and a couple of horse farms. Here's the horse farm at the very end of the road, right before you get to the end. Large barn. I would have never thought, I would have thought rugged terrain. During my research, I found a couple of photos on Google Earth mentioning Forest City. And I had never heard of it. This is up to like a week ago. And so we decided to check it out. And Forest City, way up in the center of the Ossipee Mountains, is actually Moultonborough. You have to drive all the way around the Ossipee Mountains from where the pizza barn is in Ossipee, drive 5 or 6 miles into the mountains to get back into Moultonborough.
We used to have to pay Debbie Foss to go pick the good kids up over there. Remember that?
Yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, it was a long
Yeah,
ride.
she used to run over there and pick them up every day because they lived in Moultonborough. They
Yep.
had to wait for the school day.
The two houses here, well,
Yeah.
Forest City in Moultonborough. So Meca and I this week, we kind of went up and we found a couple of photos of the old cellar holes, and they were, again, on Google Earth, so we know exactly where they were. The first photo we found was from Ryan Watson, and still I've sent him a few emails and nothing back yet. So these are the photographs that we took up there on Thursday. Each one of these little pinpoints on the software is a location of a photograph that we took, and if you click on the photograph, it'll actually show you which direction your camera was pointing when you took the photograph. The first cellar hole that we found along a kind of a small road was basically L-shaped in shape, really poor condition, and it had a simple fireplace location. No finds around it, nothing you'd see to tell you what it was. Further down, we found a fairly square 15 by 15 foot cellar hole. And this one was full of barrel hoops, metal. These here were off of an axle of a wagon. So we were thinking either a nice shed, a good pile of bricks, could have been a blacksmith shop. This one had the most identifiable evidence on trying to figure out what it was. And the third cellar hole we found was a beautiful cellar hole with a 13 by 16 central area for the fireplace, and it measured 21 by 35 feet. That we figured was the main house of the area. Further up the trail, we found the cemetery, and it's the Colby-Wasson family cemetery. And no headstones, no nothing inside. A little bit of some flowers out front. The gentleman who took the photographs that I found that started the process off was a Wasson. So
Where's he living now?
he's over in Ossipee.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And the two stones.
Native.
Hmm?
Native American name was old.
Yeah. And in the center, in the Caldera area, we have a couple of ponds. Two that I kind of really liked was Connor Pond. Not too deep, 60 feet probably in the center, but beautiful water, just a beautiful spot. Here's a panorama of it. Mountains along the backside. The water was just crystal clear. Then, of course, we have Dan Hole Pond and Little Dan Hole. Little Dan Hole is about 30 feet deep, but Big Dan Hole, we've got about 130 feet deep. That's one that they consider was probably a volcanic vent or something in. And there's a picture of Little Dan Hole. We took that one while I was standing in the middle of a thunderstorm. So. Now we come back to our side of the mountain, the Lee settlement. I'm not going to go heavy into the history of each one. I just want to show what they look like and what they look like now, basically. The maps I used were provided by the Lakes Region Conservation Trust. You can buy maps of the whole area, and it shows where most of the cellar holes are. A nice resource. The trust, here's a map of the Ossipees, and these are the areas that they watch over, they take care of. Different colors mean different degrees of stewardship, but they own and use quite a bit of the Ossipee Mountain. We're going to be zooming in on the map to the Lee Settlement area with lower on the mountain. And we have 12 little locations we're going to check out. And we have them numbered here. Roberts Place, the Whitten House, the Whitten Cemetery, the Cop House, and where I believe the school was. We go all the way down here. This is the large field, and this is where the Lee homestead was. The Horn homestead. Here's the Whitham. We were actually there this morning getting some more pictures. 8, we have Park House, where a BF shop owned. The Crow's Nest and the Castle. Of course, we have a Mystery X to keep you guys guessing. And the Boiling Springs, way up here. I actually found a trench that goes from here all the way down to a little pond that's no longer there behind Shannon Pond. And we got the Pine Lodge, number 12, which, again, I just found out about this year. Okay, here's a map of the settlement from the Mountain People book. It's a bit confusing because it's looking south, so it's from the top of the mountain looking into the valley. Again, I can explain it later on more. First place, Roberts, and that's way up near the spring. This is where the last picture of it, and it says in the book, this area here was put on by the people who were logging the area, so it wasn't actually part of the Roberts place. Most of the houses up there were very small and held 10 or 12 people. Here is what it looks like today, a C-shaped foundation. This one is in about the roughest shape. It had been logged through during logging operations, and skidders had actually driven through the cellar hole.
Wasn't me.
I had a trail cam up there. Now we're going to Whitten House. It's further down into the valley this way, and it's on a little steep hill. And here's the old picture from the Mountain People book, taken from whereabouts the schoolhouse was. And you can see the stone wall, the house, the barn. And in the picture we took last year, you can see the house is up here with the barn. The stone wall is still visible. It's amazing how the trees are just taking over there. This is the Whitten House cellar hole. Again, it's with a C laying on its side with a central fireplace area. And it still actually has the large front step out in front. And you can still, which I like, is these cellar holes, you can still look down and see stuff that the people actually used. Yeah, you can look down, see a pot, touch it, and a dinner was cooked in that 150 years ago. This kind of puts it together as being a real place. Next to Whitten Cemetery, and it's further up the trail on a little knoll. Yeah, there's Martha, and a little quote from the book. This one, the Whitten Cemetery, has one stone, carved stone, and a number of just rocks. This one was lost until probably early 70s, maybe late 60s, when Martha Oliver, John Oliver, and my grandfather went up, and my grandfather had a probing rod, and he was probing around the pine needles, and he hit the headstone. And as it says here, the Roberts Cemetery, which was only flagstone, and since logging operations, even these can't be found, that's kind of been my side project. I kind of want to find that one, but it's going to be a hard one. Here's what it looks like today. Well taken care of. And one thing I really enjoy about the town of Moultonborough is I'll go up there before Memorial Day on a hike, and there'll be a brand new American flag in that little hole in there. They do a good job on taking care of their gravestones. And then there's Sally, wife of J.W. Whitten, died May 12, 1871, 52 years old. I kind of assumed that J.W. was in there somewhere in the graveyard, but there's no way to find out. Next, we're going to go to Copp House, which is just down the hill from the Whittens. And that's the Copp House. A little bigger house, not nice size. And here's a brief history of the Copp family, which I won't go into tonight, but I'll be posting the PowerPoint. This was taken from the sign by the cellar hole by the Lakes Region Conservation Trust. And they've been doing a good job marking these cellar holes and taking care of them. The Copp places, this is basically a photograph taken from about the Copp place, and there was a school in that field. Contained about 40 students, 15 scholars, and I believe we found that, because in that field we found some stones, here, square, and a front step. So the school might be gone, but there's still some telltale evidence of where it might be. Here's Meca showing us where it is. Next we're going to go to the Lee Homestead, and that's down in the field by the stables right on the fence where you park if you're going to go for a hike. It was the biggest house up there, 6 rooms with an entry on the first floor, 2 open rooms above, and 2 cellars below. Only 2 rooms were plastered and finished, the other being sided with boards from 3 to 4 feet wide. Those are big boards. Here's a few other pictures of the homestead from different angles. I like the fact that there's a flag out front, kind of nice. This is where it is now. The bottling plant is off to your right. The stables off to the left. The stables are off to the right. And the cellar hole filled in, I believe, is right behind the fence. You still see a little depression, not a lot. The Lee Cemetery, just a little further down, that almost disappeared when Thomas Plant built the castle. He thought it was an eyesore and he wanted to get rid of it, so he started to remove the graves. And the selectmen of the town of Moultonborough got wind of it, and they went up there and told him that he had to put it back and he had to put a nice wall around it and a gate. So that, we thank our selectmen for that.
They finally did something right.
Yeah. We put a sidewalk out there. Now we're going to the Horn Place. And the Horn Place was where the pond is now, Shannon Pond, right in the middle. When Thomas Plant bought the property, he wanted a pond and water for his different projects. He filled it with trout. So the pond is where the house is now. There we go. It was originally built by Albert Horn. Off to Witham Place, and this one's kind of off from the rest of the settlement, but I do like it's a nice flat trail all the way out there, and We were there actually this morning. Here's a view looking down at Whipham Place. And Whipham Place, here, we have a road. The road's still there. More roads go this way. But up here, we have Roberts Place. And the Roberts were high on the mountain. So I've been looking for their cemetery. So this was able to give you a clue at the land that they used and owned and was open. This is one of my favorite pictures of Whipham Place. It was taken about 1890 as a advertisement for Lucy Larkham, who was managing the hotel there, to try to get tourists up for the beautiful mountain view. And if you notice, we have a rock and a lady sitting on a rock. So, Meca and I went up. Here's the picture. Here's that rock. Way here is what's left of the cellar hole. You can't see it. The stone wall is buried under leaves right now, but I checked, it's still there. And if you look at the picture, you can just barely see Meca facing that way, sitting on the line. It's kind of a nice, interesting feeling to compare the two, and you can sit on that rock and know that's one, 120 years ago sat on it. And here's the view of the house. Let's see, Wooden Farm. It was built somewhere between 1790 and 1820. In the 1850 census, Jedediah Whipham was listed as a farmer, 49, and his wife, Naomi, 53, were residents with 5 of their 8 children, ages 11 to 20. I don't know about you, but I couldn't imagine living with 5+ children in a house that size. But they did.
We did it.
Yeah. Oh. And looking down on the cellar hole, it's 32 by 18 with a central fireplace area. And again, it was a C shape. It didn't go all around the back. Here's a front view, and again, with the front step still there. It's kind of fun to step on. Now we're going to go to Park House, and this was owned by B.F. Shaw. We have the Lee Homestead on that side of the road. Remember, later on, we're going to try to remember that stone wall. It's on this side of the road. Beautiful spot, and the porches all face the lake, and a beautiful view. I believe Thomas Plant, later on when he bought the property, used this building to house a lot of the workers for the Castle Clouds. Then tore it down. Here's B.F. Shaw, and another view, and you see that the field is still there, with a little ditch up the middle. Now the Crow's Nest, and that was used by B.F. Shaw to getting tourists to the area. Had a beautiful view. This is where the castle is today. Thomas Plant dynamited the top to flatten it out to make room for the castle. So it's lower than it was back in the 1900s. Now here's a view of the Park House. And you see they had a walkway going right up to the top where the Crow's Nest is. I'd have to find that walkway. Okay, the Mystery X is located out behind the stables. And this is a project that Meca kind of got started. She kind of asked me a question and I didn't no idea. In Martha Oliver's book, she numbered all the houses. And you can think number 5, number 4, 1 and 2, Roberts, and Roberts, the fire one, Whipham. Down the pond, they had the corn place, but when we looked at it, there's a big X in this field. And we said, And there was no explanation in the book. There was for all the other numbers. So Meca and I went to Google Earth, and we lined up the view of the top photograph with a 3D view in the bottom. By putting an X in the same location where we believed that X was, we got the GPS coordinates. We loaded that into my GPS and headed off to the mountain. And this is what we found. We got up this trail, and we're kind of looking around, and we said, okay, here we are. And Meca goes, well, what's that? And that's what was there. I didn't write down the measurements here, but it's a good 20 by 12 feet. And it's got a flattened area here. We don't know what was used for logging. It's about, if you took the leaves out, it would probably be 3 foot deep foundation. Most of the stones were rubbed away. So we're trying to get permission from the Lakes Region Conservation Trust to go up there with a rake and just rake around and see if we find, old barrel hoops, a spoon, maybe even a maple syruping spindle, to kind of give us an idea of what it could have been. Could have been a high barn. But it was just kind of fun exploring. The spike fence. This was one of Thomas Plant's ideas. Remember that stone wall facing the Lee family home? Well, right behind it, the Lees wouldn't sell the property to Thomas Plant. So he kept trying and trying. So finally, he built this fence all along that stone wall to block their view of Lake Winnipesaukee. So they couldn't see anything. And finally, I guess they finally got to a price that they liked and sold, and Martha Oliver's family moved down to Sheridan Road, end of story. But he kind of wasn't nice sometimes. Okay, the Castle in the Clouds area. We're not going to get into much history on this, but a few oddities. The Pine Lodge we found this year, and we had no idea what it was. So during our research, it was a guest house that Thomas Plant had built somewhere between 1913 and 1941. And it's still, the stonework is there, but it's huge. It's probably a good 60 feet long to the end way up here, and you still see walkways and steps there. It's really a beautiful spot. Right now it's being used to store bundles of fencing. And I don't know how long they've been there, but there's probably 6 or 8 huge bundles of fencing inside. And here's the GPS map. Here's Shannon Pond. And you go down the trail, start off, and it's there in the woods. And what I've heard was there was a second guest house, but I'm not sure whether it was you referring to one of the gatehouses or another one of these. Ski areas. There were 2 that I was able to find. The Ossipee Mountain ski area, right here in town. You can still see the trails using satellite imaging, and it's off Ossipee Mountain Road. Back. Here's a copy of their trail map, and the ski area was owned by and operated by the Viano family from the 1970s through the 80s, maybe in the early 90s, and had a 370-foot drop. I remember going there and skiing.
Me too. Yeah. It's cheap, $9 a day.
Now, on the other side, we have Mount Whittier. Here's a couple of old brochures from the Mount Whittier ski area. And it's still, it's still there. It's now the post office and a large gift shop, but the gondola, the tram line, is still there. This picture I took Monday. It was nice with the American flag.
Did you notice they cleared all up underneath the gondola?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I did find out too that the gondolas weren't really used in the winter. They were more for the summer trade to get tourists up to the mountain and see the vistas.
You haven't been on them? You haven't been on those things? I went up once and walked.
I
went
went up on the gondola ones,
Yeah,
but I didn't.
that was scary.
That's a steep drop.
Really.
And here's a aerial view of the area. And like you say, the tram line is cleared out, and you just barely see the trail. And it operated from 1949 to 1985. Okay, Bigfoot. Okay, Meca and I were hiking Thursday, and I was taking the trail because I need to hike the trail, and she was hopping rocks up the brook. And she hollered over, I think I found a Bigfoot track. And I zoomed in and said, yeah, this one looks like a Bigfoot track. 3 toes, everything. So we kind of did some investigating when we got home. And in 1890s, during a midwinter thaw up on Connor Pond, a person in a cabin on the shore, located in the center of the Ossipee Ring, saw an alarming thing. A dog had wandered out on the thaw in the pond. It fell to the ice and was floundering vainly for a long time to get out. Suddenly, a large, hairy, human-like creature came out of the woods from the direction of Bald Mountain, reached out its arms and rescued the dog, then immediately disappeared back into the woods from where it appeared. So I said, oh, that's interesting. I said, anything newer? Well, we had in 1979, Peter Samuelson, hiking up again near Connor Pond, was puzzled when he saw what he thought was a Bigfoot in a doorway of a small, kind of tall, like a hut, with a roof made out of hemlock boughs, gray hair, long gray hair, and the rest of the story, he kind of decided he was going to hike down to try to find and get closer, and he never was able to get closer and find that spot again. A few years later, he went back and couldn't find any. He found the spot, but no sign of the hut that was there. This is the one Dick might know a little bit about, the 1953 fire on Mount Shaw. It was on July 5th.
Volunteers. I didn't get up there. I looked at it at the back window of the house and I could see it.
Okay, here's a map of the fire I found at the library. And it covered a lot of Moultonborough, Moultonborough. A lot of firefighters came up from the backside. But kind of a consequence of the fire, we're not going to read the whole thing, but in Curious New England, I came across a story about the Ossipee Mountains. There's supposedly a sacrificial stone in the area of the fire, and it was found after the fire. I did a report on it in high school, but never was able to find it because about 20 years after the fire, there was a thicket, and it was impossible to find anything up there. So now we go to Aleister Crowley. In 1918, he came to New Hampshire, and it was believed from the Curious New England book that he came to New Hampshire, stayed in Rumney, but did kind of curious things around the sacrificial stone. He was from England, and he was known as the meanest, the wickedest man in the world at the time. And I don't think I'd want to meet that face in the Ossipee Mountains. So that kind of wraps up the talk. I did want to mention, I didn't get a slide prepared, but I believe in the 40s there was a flood up at the castle. Yeah, I had a newspaper article, and I misplaced it in my files, but Shannon Dam burst.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and came down Shannon Brook, and the water was about 6 feet deep in the gatehouse, and a little house there.
Just the walls are down.
Yeah.
These are the walls that are down now, part of it was
From the flood.
from
Yeah, and it washed out 171. I'm kind of glad they built it better now. And my final thing is I really like to thank Meca. I mean, she was hiking and getting up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and she was running the tape measure, and she never
She looks
complained.
thrilled.
Well, she didn't look thrilled, but
I hope,
she never complained once.
I hope you put her on the spot and do it.
I kept reeling her in.
You married somebody in the middle of it. We went up with somebody who got married in the middle of the hospital.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, your brother. Yeah, right up over the head wall. Yeah.
And who else was that? Who's the guy who signed up for the?
Dave, the firefighter.
I can't remember his name.
But hiked with a video camera, a regular camera, tripod. Yeah, like felt like 5 miles up in the woods. Videotaped it. So that's the presentation for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. Questions?
Any connection between the Whitten family in this area and Whitten Woods, which is a new hiking area as of last spring in Ashland on Highland Street?
I'm not sure in Ashland. The two Whitten boys that I knew, Wolford, yeah,
He was a character.
yeah, they lived over in Moultonborough, but over the Composite side. I think they had trust from Thomas Plant when they moved out of the area up there. They got some land in exchange, but I still know anything about Ashland.
I think it's around 400 or 500 acres, which was just declared conservation land.
It was in your classroom.
There's a conservation agency,
It was a year or two behind.
which I think administers. And then another question. I heard a speaker when I was in the classroom of clouds years ago, who was an author. In fact, I heard two of them over a 2-year period. And one of them said that the Shaw poem was they just allowed people to come in and use it, no charge, until they got to the point where it was not particularly well treated, but people use it and stopped.
Yeah, we have a sign out front, basically saying, no remittance without, paying the fee kind of thing.
5 cents.
Hmm?
5 cents,
Yes, yeah,
which is a lot then.
yeah. Any other questions? No, I guess we'll have a wonderful evening.